All right, guys. I said I was going to go over my 2026 bow setup right here. Right now, I'm shooting the Mathews V3X in the 33-inch limb-to-limb configuration. I'm shooting a 460 grain arrow, going about 284 feet per second right now. I like it. It's treating me well. Shoots super accurate. Um, the one thing I will note is next season I will be upgrading my bow. I've been thinking about moving either to a PSE or sticking with Mathews. But right now I've been looking at that PSE Sicario that just came out, and I really like. I mean, who doesn't like speed when it comes to bows? But I've also heard the new Mathews is fast, but also they've kind of fixed their weight issue. I know that's one thing that a lot of people say about Mathews is they're super heavy. They're bulletproof, but they're heavy. I think this bow is like um, the weight itself without anything on it is over 4.5 pounds, where the new PSEs are in the high 3 pound range, which cuts a lot of weight off when you're hiking into the backcountry um, or you're walking around. I do a lot of still hunting where I'm at in Southern California, and just walking around with your bow all day kind of can blow up your forearms like that. But I'm going to go top to bottom on this right here. I've got this in a 70-pound configuration, about a 30.5 inch draw. Um, so with that, I'm shooting the tight spot quiver on this here. This tight spot quiver I've had since my first bow that I got, and I like that I can just transfer this thing over to anything that I have. So even if I do get a different system that allows for an integration of a quiver, I'll definitely keep this guy. I really like it. It holds 5 arrows. I don't know if it's Tight Spot or if it's a secondary brand that makes it, but they actually make a belt clip that can clip this on right here. So when you're going in for a stock, you can clip it right up to your belt right here and stock in with one, not having to worry about dragging your arrows or your quivers through the brush, but also as everyone knows, you shoot a bow without a quiver. It is much easier to shoot. That is one thing, because I don't have that attachment. Whenever I shoot my bow, I really try to shoot only with my quiver on, loaded with arrows, um, because at the end of the day, I want to simulate as much as I can of that hunting situation or scenario versus, I want to stack the cards against me. And if I, for some reason, don't have this quiver on here, I'll shoot better no matter what, regardless. I know that. Now, in this quiver right here, I am shooting the VAP TKO, um, the Victory right here. This is a 350 grain. I don't know what the flex is on this guy here, but it's a 50 grain aluminum insert, as well as I'm running the Beast 125 grain mechanical broadhead. Um, I know there's always a big debate of mechanical versus fixed blade. I've always shot mechanicals. Um, if you talk to a lot of the bow techs, they all shoot mechanicals unless they're chasing after some really big game um, that need a lot of punching power and penetration. But even from what I understand with elk and animals of that size, a mechanical is going to do the trick if you put the arrow in the right spot. But if you don't, whether it's mechanical or a fixed blade, you might be doing a little bit of tracking. I've got the AAE hybrid vanes on this guy right here. I fletch my own arrows. I've got a fletching jig that I really like, and I'll be talking about that later in a different video when I go over how to fletch arrows. But Got a little wrap on this guy. I just have the stock knocks on this here. This guy right here, like I said, I think it's coming in around 100 or 460 grains. I'll just double check that real quick on my scale. Um, yeah, 463 grains on this guy here, going about 284. Um, I'd like to get some more speed out of my bow, and that's why I'm talking about next year swapping over to a different system. But for now, these guys are working great. Um, Now, along with that, I am shooting the B3 Exact um, sight wheel right here. I wasn't sure about this guy when I first got it. Um, it felt a little outdated to me, but the pin glow is super, super bright. The only quarrel that I have with it is it doesn't have an adjustment on this like a lot of the new sights do. It's got a spot for a lighting system if that's legal in whatever state you're hunting in. That's just something you have to check before you go. It is nice because it does have my yardage here, as well as I can make a custom sight tape for the wheel right here. It's super smooth. I've never had issues with it. The only thing that I've really ever ran into is with these metal sight tapes, they're kind of frustrating because you're kind of limited to your options lining up with that. Granted, I've never had something I can't um, run properly with it. The other thing is there's no stop. So if you roll this guy all the way down or all the way up, your post will come off here, and you're gonna have to, get that mounted back on there. Again, I've never ran into that issue um, myself with this bow, but it is something that I have to be aware of if I'm dialing in the heat of the moment and I need to crank it back to 20. I just got to be careful once I get to that wall right there not to blow past it. Um, Moving on from there, I, for the love of me, cannot figure out um, what brand this is right here. I got it from a guy at the Bow Disciples Challenge that they hold out in Lake Henshaw. It's the Bow Disciple guy. Puts on a shoot every year. I think it's in May, and it's super fun. So if you're local to the San Diego or Southern California area, I would definitely go out and check it out. The only problem is I can't remember and I cannot find his website. But this right here is one. The biggest thing that it does is if you're stalking in on a buck or an antelope or whatever, and you're crawling on your hands and knees, you can see I'm putting a ton of weight on this right here. You don't have to worry about your cams getting rubbed into the dirt, your string, anything. If you tighten your back bar enough, and your front bar, you trust. I mean, you can do push-ups on this thing. The guy was literally doing push-ups and handstands on his bow. That's a pretty epic feature right there. It adds a little extra weight to the bow, but it's not too much. As well as if you're going over fences, when you're antelope hunting or you're crossing some BLM grazing. This guy actually, I don't know if I can demonstrate here, might not be able to actually on the ladder. You can hook it onto stuff, which actually that's not even hooked on there. You can get you can understand what I'm saying with this. You can hook this guy right here onto a fence, onto whatever you're getting over, so you're not having to hold your bow and do the stumble over. Moving on from there, I don't always have this limb saver right here from Mathews. This is just kind of when I'm at home or at the range, I can set this guy down. Makes it easy to just not worry about your cams getting in the dirt, scratching them up, or your strings getting dirty. I just recently switched over to the R7 ham ski rest. I really like it. I like the micro tuning ability of this guy here for your left and right, up, down. It works great. The only thing that I've noticed with it that you have to be aware, if you are running a tight spot quiver, if you put your quiver on here and you slide it all the way down, and I'll get a close up of this, um, where the limb string connects here and the limb riser, if this is pushed all the way in tight, this won't rotate and your limbs won't come up on this here. Or I apologize, your rest won't come up on here. So it is something to be aware of if you do run this combination setup together. You do have to be aware that this quiver has to be ever so slightly off, just to make sure that you're not disengaging the limb riser for this riser right here. Besides that, it works phenomenal. I love it. It keeps your arrow contained. I was running just the standard Mathews drop away rest, and wasn't too much of an issue with that, but I really liked that this kind of keeps your arrow nice and contained in this area. You don't have to worry about it jumping out of your visor, as well as it's super accurate and really easy to tune on your bow right here. Now, down here, I've got a Shrewd front bar. There's nothing special about it. A front bar is a front bar. This is an older bow, so you don't get the bridge lock system with the V3X, but screw in right here, it works great. It's a 12-inch front bar, and then on here I've got a back bar with a 3-degree drop on it here. This is a 9-inch. It works super well. I've got it working with my pin flow really well. Along with that, with any good bow, you've got to have a release. This right here is the first choice. I think it's the chocolate is what it's called, but it's a 4-finger. Usually it's brown. I think that's why they call it the chocolate. I got it in blue. A lot of guys don't like the 4-finger hold because they feel like they need to have a little bit less torque on their release. For me personally, I like it because I use it almost like a hinge. All I do is I just put slight pressure on my thumb here on the thumb barrel, and I actually use my pinky to actuate the release. I think I have a little bit more control for a semi-surprise break, but also I know when my trigger's going off, and not just a full surprise with that there. I really like it. I use it as almost a hinge, and I kind of roll my pinky back, and it drops away and sends my arrow flying. Along with that, I've got one of these Mathews Archery straps. Same thing. I heard about these guys from the Bow Disciple crew, and it's a lifesaver. Before, I had this guy right here, and I might actually go back to the Stan Onyx clicker. I had that prior to this, and I really loved that release, just knowing that you're right at that trigger wall and it's about to break with that click. Only problem is it ruined a hunt for me because I lost it. I had it stashed in my bino harness like most guys do. Was going some really thick, nasty brush on a stalk, and it got ripped out of my harness, and that's like losing a $300 bill. So I switched over to this just to try a different release. There's nothing special about it. I liked the Stan Onyx clicker. But with this right here, it actually works as a strap, so you won't lose your release. Straps up onto your wrist like this. It's nice because you can go walking around the woods. This guy's not going anywhere, as well as it does have a feature of elastic right here. If you want to tuck that guy away and not have this thing kind of flying around, it's going to be, reach at all times. You just pull it out, knock up, and send it. So really awesome thing. I think anyone that has a thumb button release needs some way to secure it, either to their bow, to their bino harness, or to their wrist like this, because the quickest way to ruin a hunt is not having one of these. I've heard of guys losing their release and trying to send it by just drawing it back with their fingers. But unless you're practicing that, I don't think it's an effective method or something you should rely on. I think you should rely on this and not shooting like you're shooting a traditional bow. Alongside with this guy here, I always keep an extra release in my truck, or not even, maybe even on me, if I'm going in super deep somewhere. I think it's a good just practice to have an extra release, because it's like going into the woods with 2 rounds of ammunition in your rifle if you're rifle hunting. If you don't have this guy right here, then you can't shoot your bow. So it's just one of those things. This right here is an index release. I don't shoot an index release typically. My father shoots an index release. I always like to keep this around, either for him or for me. I can shoot an index release almost as good as I shoot my thumb button. I talked about it. I'm shooting the Beast mechanical broadhead. I really like them. They're super, super sharp. I haven't shot the titanium ones yet, but I'm thinking about trying those, as well as I think Remy Warren, there's the Day 6 ones. I've heard really good things. So possibly for the shooting a hybrid instead of a straight mechanical. But these fly super well, and they shoot almost just about as good as a field tipped. I think a good thing to have as an archer or a hunter in general is some way to track your speed. So a chronograph. You can check your arrow speed, you check bullet velocities, you can keep all of these things. And if this is something where it's a hobby to you, not as more of a means to fill a freezer, which at the end of the day, that's why I do hunt, but also besides church and my family, this is all I do. I don't have any other hobbies really besides this. So I treat this as my fun, and tinkering for me with my bow or with my rifle is what I do for fun. So it's a good thing to have here. I'm going to go over in a second here how to use this guy, show you kind of what's going on with my setup. Like I said, I'm shooting 460 grains, about 280 feet per second. But I'm going to double check that and put that into my rangefinder so that I can have a proper measurement, all of that. Good thing as well, pick up one of these little arrow weight scales. They're super cheap, as you can tell, because the lid just broke up on this guy here, but this will be able to help you weigh your arrows, know what your components are all weighing, so that you can also weigh all of your arrows together and try to match them as best as possible. Because actually, I can show you with these Beast broadheads, you're going to have slight deviations between what they actually weigh. Last time I bought a set of these guys here, I bought the 100 grains. I weighed them all out. They weighed anywhere from 98 to 101 on their grain weight. But what you can do is you can weigh all your fletchings, weigh your wraps, your nocks, all of these things, and that will be able to give you an equal weight between all of your arrows. So no matter what, when you're hunting, you know that you are dead on with every single arrow weight, no matter what arrow you pull out of your quiver. So from now, I'm going to show you right now kind of how to set up this chronograph, how to use this guy, and show you what we're shooting for speed. So with this Garmin here, all you got to do is turn your power on, start a new session, go to wherever you're shooting a bow, pistol, whatever it is. Bow, enter the weight, put this in. We are shooting at 463 grains. Right now, and this is just going to be with my current arrow setup right here. Shooting a target at 20 yards. With my Beast broadhead, got a target out there at 20 yards. And right now we're just getting our FPS. So you can see it's actually a little slower than what I anticipated. I realized that the number I'd given earlier was for the heavier arrows that I was shooting last season. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video right there. I put a lot of time and effort into it. This is kind of my first longer form video that I'll be putting out. Still figuring out all the bumps with editing, recording, all of those things there. But if you enjoyed it, let me know what you guys are shooting this season. And like I said, next season I'll be upgrading to a new bow. So let me know what you guys think. Should I go with the PSE? Has you guys had any experience shooting PSE? I've always shot Mathews, but I want to try some new stuff and get you guys some content on some newer gear eventually. With that, please like and subscribe. I enjoy doing this right here. This is something that I'm passionate about, and I want to grow the channel to the point where it can be semi-sustainable and help me get out into the field and film more and show you guys more content. I will be doing a 500 subscriber giveaway, so keep on the lookout for that right there. So I'd appreciate it if you share the video and subscribe. You'll see coming up pretty soon in August, I'll be out in New Mexico doing a hound hunt for bears with my bow, as well as on my way back from New Mexico, trying to fill an over-the-counter archery mule deer tag in Arizona, and a little bit of more high alpine situation there. Lastly, I'll be out in Colorado for second season, rifle elk with a mule deer tag in my pocket. You'll see those are all going to be 3 separate videos that I'm going to be putting out. But at the end of the year, I'm kind of going to do a compilation of all 3 of those hunts together there. Very lastly, I do have a mountain lion tag that's still valid in Idaho that I'm hoping to try to fill if I can get connected with some hound hunters out there. I was out in March or May of this year and just try to do a little bit of e-calling and trying to draw a mountain lion in or do a little spot and stalk that way. It was unsuccessful out there. As most of you guys know, mountain lion hunting without hounds or without fresh snow is painstakingly difficult. I gave it my best shot. Didn't get any eyes on any cats out there, but hoping to fill that tag as well. So if you guys know any hound hunters or you guys are hound hunters out in Idaho and the southwest area of Idaho, I'd love to connect and maybe go out there sometime and get a cat on the ground and yeah, do a little predator management to help out that deer population out there. I know they used to have a really good deer population in the area that I was hunting, and it's slowly declined because of mountain lions and predators like that. When I was out there, I saw very few deer in an area that is just should be thriving with deer out there. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Like I said again, please like, subscribe, share, so I can keep putting this content out. Thanks.